Well, as you can see, At the Shore is the name of our new collection, and let's just take a walk along that shore. Please come play with us. Well, before we get started, let's look at what the collection has. We're going to begin with our 12 by 12 papers, and there are 12 of them. They're double-sided, as you can kind of see right there. You also get 44 cutouts, so that just makes it so much more valuable. Then to coordinate, we have 12 by 12 sheets again in 12 different colors. You can see that whole array, so just beautiful. And you can see every single sheet if you click on any of the products down below, the At the Shore products, because I did a video just to show you every single sheet up close and to give you an idea of what we do when we're designing. We also have the 6 by 6. Now this is 24 sheets, 88 cutouts. You get 4 of each, and on everything, of course, as always, there is a project on the back. Then we have the 31 die cuts. There are 2 sheets, and they are all die cut, and they are just gorgeous, so beautiful to go. Chipboard, we have 24 pieces in this 6 by 6 piece, and Teresa's done some very fun things. And finally, we have the cutting dies. There are 9 of them. We were sure to include a lighthouse. In fact, lighthouses are all through this, but of course we're going to have seashells, we're going to have seagulls, all kinds of things to coordinate. So let's get started with, actually, I want to show you a 12 by 12 scrapbook page because that's just a great way to start. This is on the back of the 12 by 12 package, and we've created scenes for you, and that just makes it so easy to do your scrapbooking. And as you can see, overlapping your matted photos, adding some of the cutouts just makes it perfect. And we've got some of the chipboard down below, so that makes it easy. And let's get into Teresa's first card, and here it is. This is a slimline card, as you can see, and she has begun with the 12 by 12 papers. So let me show you. This is this is the back sheet of this one that I just showed you in the scrapbook page. So on the back, and what she did is she started at the top of the sheet because she wanted that horizon line and she wanted some of the sand so that she could put her chipboard lighthouse. And you could also do the cutting die, so that just made it easy. She cut this a little bit smaller than the slim line, which is 3.5 by 8.5 inches. And by the way, as always, if you look down below, you'll see all the projects that Teresa's doing, all 5 of them. And if you click on any of them, you will see her written instructions, and if there is a download, which I think there's only one download this time, but this is the sheet that she's used, and that gets us started. Now also, as I said, she's used the chipboard, and the chipboard is this. I did find something that it might be handy for you. It's handy for me. You can use the back side. See, I was playing with what she did in the grasses, where she's used 3 different colors, and that was nice because it doesn't seep through, and you can do some testing and see if everything is doing exactly as you want it to before you commit to the front side. And of course you can always turn them over if you want them to go a different direction. But on this chipboard, what Teresa has told us is that she used the 24 piece. This is the deep blends, so they're deeper colors, to coordinate with this on her chipboard. However, you can certainly use the individual pieces. So you can see that there's red, blue, there's green, as I said, and there's some teal going on the front of the card. On the inside of the card, the same colors are being used right down there. So let's stay right here. The other thing that Teresa did is she backed this lighthouse with this sheet, and this is on the back of this one. Again, another scene, as you can see, and she did want to have just the kind of scuffed gold color, and I think it plays really well for the back side of the lighthouse, and you can see she just did a little blushing with the ink pads on the edges or with the markers, a little bit right there, and then they all just look really nicely. Jute is something that she used actually in many of these projects, and here's what the package looks like. You get 72 inches each of a ton of different colors, and so that works very nicely and really kind of does the seashore theme. So those have all been glued to the front. Now on the inside of her card, she did stay with the 12 by 12 pattern paper, and this is that first sheet that you saw, and this is the area that she used for the piece on the inside, and she matted it on this teal that is out of the solid, so it works just beautifully. And I love how these papers kind of look like a torn edge, and they've got the stripes there, just a perfect seashore look, and works really nicely. And on many of them on the back you will see another stripe, so that works well. Now for her greeting, on the front she used the chipboard, on the inside she used the inside outside dazzles in primary colors. So the idea is that you get an outside happy birthday and an inside like sending warm thoughts, thinking of you. The more candles, the bigger the wish. In this case, she just used the happy birthday, and so that did a really nice job. So that is our first card. Now we're going to go to our second. And this has also the chipboard on it, but something different. I think we need to get a little bit tighter to this, Steve. Can you do that? So on the front, there we go. That makes it nicer. So you can see that it's very kind of a foggy day at the beach and looks really pretty. And I thought it was very clever what she did and what she used. So she's gone into the 6 by 6 papers. And here is the design that she used. It's on the back of our lighthouse, and she has used that just right there. So she's just trimmed it to fit on the front of her card. She did mat it on this soft blue that is in the solid cardstock. So let me get that out of the way. Okay. Now, going into what's going on in her card, I thought it was really clever that she went to the chicken wire cutting die, and it kind of does look like a net, but you know, you kind of need an artistic eye to see that. And she die cut this out of this tan cardstock that's in the solids, and placed it along the bottom. Now you might be wondering, how are you going to attach that? Well, Sticky Specs come to the rescue. We've had them before in the A4 size, so that's like 8.5 by 11, but this is a half size, but you get twice as many, so it's the same volume that you get. And as you probably know, this is just such a wonderful tool for placing anything down, especially things that have intricate cuts to them. So you simply peel back the adhesive, place your piece on the sticky one, gently rub it, and then lift it off and place it wherever you want it to go. So you can see what Teresa has done with this card. Now after placing that, she went back to the jute, that same jute, wrapped it around before gluing this to the front of her 5 by 6.5 inch card. Okay. Now let me show you what she's done with the chipboard. The seagulls, now it looks like they got shading on the side, but they really don't. What Teresa did was to take her Versamark and tap it on all of the seagulls. Actually, there are several in the chipboard. And then she used the clear embossing powder with her heat gun and heated and melted that powder. And what it does is it gives a shine to those seagulls, which is just really nice, but it kind of makes them look darker on the edges. Don't know why, but it just does. Must be the liquid that's absorbing and it kind of turns it dark. Now you see all those gold flashes? Well, let me show you what she has done. She stayed with the Versamark, and then she used the Pearl Champagne. This is out of Stampendis's Encrusted Jewels. This is the gold collection. There's a silver collection. And so the Pearl Champagne is what she used to cover each of these pieces, so the ocean breezes as well as the seashells, and then tapped it off, used the heat gun to melt them. And I love the look, kind of on the words, that kind of bubbles up a little bit. I mean, it's just really lovely, and you can see how that shine really captures your eye. Beautiful look. On the inside, okay, on the inside, she has used this sheet. Now, you saw this a little while ago on the first card when we backed the lighthouse. This is the back side of this one. So she has trimmed this down to fit inside, and then she used this 6x6, it's on the back of that one, and just cut a piece that's going to go right across there. Here we've got some die cuts, and this is the Salt Water Heals Everything, just beautiful. And as you can see, some of them have greetings, some are left with just the art so that you can overlap them or do whatever you like. And as you can see, Teresa overlapped here, put this at an angle, and then did the beach is calling. So there you go, you've got that. And foam taped it there, more of the seagulls, more of the chipboard, and another piece of that die cut piece. So that's just really, really great. That finishes our card. And one thing before we move on to the next card, the jute bow right there, what Teresa does is she wraps the jute around the piece and then glues it to the card front. The bow she does as a second layer. It's just easier to handle that way. And you can zot that in place, or you can tie it to those first strips. So whatever you like is going to work just nicely. One more look at that. Okay, let's go into the card that I enticed you with as we began. This again is a 5 by 6.5 inch card, and I love that window into the ocean. It's just really fun to see that. And what Teresa used was a couple of things. So let me find the paper. So this is in the 6 by 6 paper. So this is the stripe. Remember I mentioned that there are stripes included. Well, there's the blue, there's also the teal. So that becomes on the front of her card. Then she die cut, this is the arch window, and it is just such a really versatile piece. And there are actually several pieces here, so you get the outline. So that's what she first cut this piece, and simply because, in fact, you've probably seen that what Lene shows us is how to, because this card is 5 inches, you can simply wrap this piece around to the front and die cut that. And then you don't have to worry about it being too wide to go through your Big Shot or your Gemini Junior. Okay, so that works nicely. So she first die cut that after gluing the paper to the front of the card. Makes it easy to just do it in one fell swoop. Then she cut the inner pieces out of the dark blue, and you can see that. But first, she glued some acetate to the back, and that way, that the acetate will hold these pieces in place. And then she cut the arch again out of white cardstock and glued it on top of the piece. So that just worked really nicely. And the blues, all of those colors, except for the white isn't in the solid cardstock, but certainly this deep, deep blue is, and you can see how lovely it looks there. I think she's also going to use it on the inside of the card. So we've got the arch window that's being dramatically done, and then she's also gone into our die cuts to do the lantern as well as some shells. And what I love about this set is that the shells get embossed just like the real shells. So you can see the sand dollar there, you can see that nautilus shell, there's a bigger nautilus. Those are all going to get embossed and raised up. And what you can do then is you can use the sponge dabbers, is what Teresa likes to use. And you can use, she used the Friar Brown ink pad to just color those and just to make them show a little bit better. And that's just nice. Plus she used it for the outside edges of her die cuts. Now, the lantern, she has die cut out of black. And then do you see this sprig? Well, that sprig, that beautiful curved piece, is done with our tiny flowers and leaves. Now, we had an earlier version which has sold out, so we did a second version, and this is what it looks like. The flowers are embossed, but that curved piece just does so many really nice things. In fact, we've got a couple of curved pieces. And so you can see what Teresa's done. She's done it on the green right back there. So that was the first layer. Then the lantern is foam taped, the shell is foam taped, and this one is just tucked underneath. A little bit of jute is knotted around the lantern, so that does a nice job. The many thanks, well, that is from the cutout sheet that is part of the 6x6 papers. So that works nicely. Okay, let's go on to the inside, and here we go. So here is that scene as I showed you before, and you can see that she just cut the piece. Again, the measurements are down below. There's a die cut, love you, another die, cutout, another cutout, you are a treasure. And we've got more of the seashells, again, that have been inked, and also using another of those pieces from the Tiny Flowers and Leaves #2, this little one, just to tuck in there, just to make it a little bit wider, and a little knotted jute also. So all of that just creates, I think, a really lovely window into the seashore. Okay, so we have a couple more to go. Now this is a card with a belly band, and as you can see, now that's got the die cuts on it. Again, more of the the cutting dies right there. That's part of the cutting dies also. So we've got seagulls and seashore just on top of that. Now, let me lift this up. And this has a surprise inside. So let me show you. Ready? Okay. Ooh, how fun. How fun is that? Okay, so this is a gatefold card. And then it opens to a surprise. Okay, let's see how we do that. You're going to take well, actually, you're going to take your regular card, and what Teresa has us do is laying it flat. Then she trims 3/4 of an inch off each of the long edges. Okay, then we're going to bring these to the center and really do it firmly with our bone folder, and that's going to make this card. Then she is going to cut a piece of the paper. Now the one that she used is this. So it's a 12 by 12. Now you might be surprised at that, but this is what she did. So you can see it's right there. And what she does, and this is what she always does, she cut one piece, and this one happens to measure 4 by 6 3/8. And then she cut it in half. So that way she has a bigger piece to handle, and then she glued a piece to each side of this gatefold. So that just worked really easily. Okay, now we do have a download. I promised you there would be one. And this is the pop-up mechanism that's inside. So you just print this off on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and you will get this 4-inch by 8-inch piece. And a tip that I like to share is that you can just easily kind of glue it with just a couple of pieces of glue, little dabs of, I like glue stick, on the back of the paper that you want to use. And then you cut along the straight edges and you score along all of the diagonal and broken edges and the straight edges. And that way you don't have to do any measuring. Just a tip if you want to use that. Now, what Teresa has done with that same piece, so here it is just out of white cardstock, is that you are going to do all of the diagonal pieces in a valley fold. So like this, and like this. Yes, there's going to be some extra sticky tape in this. And like this, and like this. So all of those are in a V fold. Now, the straight lines are going to be in mountain folds. So those are going to go like this. Just like that, and just like that. Here we go. So the scoring weakens the fibers in the paper to allow you to do all that manipulation. Now this is going, obviously going to go on the inside of your card. And let me show you how that works. So again, it's going to go like this. Now before you do that, we're going to do a couple of things. So let's finish the front of our card. And here we have the Just For You. The Just For You is a cutout. It's part of the 44 that are in the package. And there it is. She has foam taped it in place. And she's also done one of the cutting dies of the little birds right there. So that finishes our front. Of course, this is all empty because of the belly band. So we'll get to that in a minute. Now for the inside of our card, what Teresa has done, now earlier we used this part of the sheet. Well, right now she's going to use this part of the sheet, which is what's great about card making, is you can use the papers in pieces and just have them go very far. So that, so you can see the stripes up there, that is going to be the piece. It's going to be right there. It's going to show us some seagulls. It gives us the blue sky, and that's going to work very nicely. Now for the inside, this is the sheet that she has used. It's right here. And the area that she used, so this has got our seashore and the rocks, more seagulls, of course. We've got a message in a bottle, which I particularly love. So this piece is what she has cut out to be the exploding part. Okay, now, why the extra sticky tape? Well, because this is a movable card. And when you have that, you really want to secure those pieces very firmly. Our recommendation is extra sticky tape. It has the orange liner. And it's going to go on each of the outside triangles and on that center diamond. Okay? And that's because, well, as you can see, those are the areas that are going to be attached to the card. So these pieces are going to open and close. They're not glued anywhere. But these two are attached to the edge of the card, and this, of course, is right smack dab in the middle. So what you'll do is you'll have your card, you'll have your piece on the center, which is going to cover your score lines, and then take this and collapse it down, like so, and then take the tape off and position it on the inside of your card, and you can see how that's going to work. Then, to attach these, take the tape off and simply close the card. For the other side, take the tape off and simply close the card. And then when you open it, everything is attached, and it will do that exploding part. So easy, and yet such a fun look. Okay, let's get, a couple of other things. We've got more die cuts there, so you can see the Here's to You and the congratulations. Those are both foam taped. Now these are the larger of the die cuts with the seashell and the starfish. And again, they've been edged with some of the ink pads, so that just works really nicely. Okay, one last piece here, and that is the belly band. Now the belly band is about, I think the measurements are down below. Oh, I know. It's 10 inches, and it is the dark blue that you've seen before. 10 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. And then Teresa did put a piece of the stripe, as you can see, on the front. But first, she placed it onto the card, and you want to wrap it so that you can slip this on and off. So you want to have some ability to move it. So when you're placing that and then overlapping the edges, actually you overlap them on the front so they can be covered up, you want to make sure that it's really easy to move. So simply that strip of paper, she did a light blue out of the solid and then white. You can see the die cut. You can see more of the cutting dies that were added. So those seagulls get a lot of attention. So that is this card. Very fun. One more to share with you. And here it is. See? Okay, here's our last one. I think this is really fun. Again, using that walkway down to the beach, which is just an iconic image, along with the lighthouse and the seagulls and seashells. So she has cut this and placed it onto her card. But let's talk about her card. Well, let me show you what this does. Okay, so here we go. We're going to open it, and it's going to move. Get that. Very, very nice. Okay, so Teresa has made that with a pattern, and the pattern is right here. Let me give you the measurements and how this works. So we're going to have 2 pieces, and this measures, the first one measures 7 1/4 by 6. We keep our 6 inches so that they will fit into our cards. That way everything works together and you're not stuck with a card that you can't get into an envelope. So 7 1/4 by 6. And she used the blue cardstock, and let me show you. Here it is. It's got the blue, good medium blue on one side and a light blue on the other. She has created her cards so that the darker blue is on the inside, as you can see here. The lighter blue is on the front. So you want to do that same thing. And then the second piece is going to be 7 inches by 6. You're going to go from the left and measure in 3 inches. On that first piece, do the same thing. Measure from the left side, but we need a 1/2 inch little lip so we can attach these 2 together. And then you measure in 3 1/4 inches. Okay, you've got the 2 pieces, and then we're going to ask you to die cut. And this is a rectangle, so you're going to use the piece. Again, it's in the directions, and you're going to position it on the front of your piece and then simply run it through your die cutting machine. You want to have it the same place on both of them, okay? Then we're going to go back to our friend, the extra sticky tape, and place it on that flap, okay? Now what's going to happen is that this flap is going to attach to the other card. So let me do this. So we want to get these on the inside. Okay, I'm going to fold that back. We're going to attach those 2. And this is exactly what we want, is we want this stand-up piece that's on the inside. Okay? And let me show you the card again, just so that you can see. So it's only attaching that flap. The rest of it is open to move. Let me show you the card again. I think it just always helps have the visual. So when you open up the card, you can go like this, and then it explodes open. Okay? Now, what about this piece? Well, that piece is another piece. So here is 10 inches by 2 3/4. Now we're going to do several pieces. And so we're going to measure, here we go, 1/2 inch to give us a flap, 1 1/2 inches to give us the first score line, 5 inches, 8 1/2 inches, and 9 1/2. That way we have 2 1/2 inch flaps on each side. And as you can see, that's where we put the extra sticky tape. The extra sticky tape, by the way, generally goes along the score line, just in case that's a help for you. So this piece is going to get folded in the middle as a valley fold. Everything else is a mountain fold. Okay, you can see that. Now, this is going to slip in here, and only the tabs are going to get attached because this needs to pivot. Again, let me go back to the card, and you can see how that will pivot. Okay? So after you get this together, Then we're going to decorate the pieces simply with the patterned and solid cardstock, mostly the patterned, along the front and on the inside. So we have the papers that you've seen. In fact, I'll just reiterate for you. On the inside, here is that wonderful lighthouse. And then over on this side, we're going to take this one, and it just extends that horizon and that view. So as you can see, it all works together. Kind of fun to see it up from the top, isn't it? Then for these pieces, you're going to use this blue, this kind of distressed blue. For this, you're going to use this piece that we've seen that a couple of times, so they're getting good work. Now, all of the decorations are out of the die cuts, so I sure miss you. This long piece, you might wonder what you can do with that long piece on a card. Well, Teresa just cut it in half. So she used a piece there and a piece there that went underneath each of these die cuts. More jute, so easy to do, just wrap it around and tie a bow, and that takes care of it. And then the front of it, what I really love that Teresa does is how she overlaps the die cuts. So here's this piece, and as you've heard me say, we leave it blank so that you can stamp on it, you can put dazzles, or you can overlap. And here's an excellent way of overlapping. And notice she just trimmed off the top. So fun. And dear friend, ocean friends, and thinking of you are right there on opposite corners, a little bit of jute. And that's our opening gateway into this very fun card. A good technique to remember, I think. So, as you can see, Teresa's had a wonderful time at the shore. And again, just using, we'll back up a little bit so I can show you all of these again, the 12 by 12 patterned, the 12 by 12 solid cardstock, the 31 die cuts, as I'm reaching clear over here. Also, our 6 by 6, our chipboard, our cutting dies. All of that is beautifully done. Now, I do have a surprise for you this time. I found, in wandering around our warehouse, I found some punch outs. And these are foiled, embossed, they're not cutouts, they're punch outs. They're already cut out for you. So you just push them out. And you can ink these if you want to, but these are all about going on a trip. So I thought it would be fun for you to have these. These will be in the Money Saver at no extra cost for you. And if you have joined any of our subscriptions, we will be adding these also. So if you have the I Want It All subscription, every month we will send you the entire collection at a discount, so that's a bonus. If you want everything, like you really want it all, you will also get the cutting dies, and again, you will get that 20% off discount. So once a month we do a new collection, and once a month we have the I Want It All and I Really Want It All subscriptions. So we invite you to join us. And I'd better hurry up because they're ready to send these out, and I need to tell them about this that I've just told you. So here we go, at the shore. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved what Teresa made. I hope you like that too. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you'll hit that you like it. I hope you'll subscribe to our YouTube channel and click down at the bottom. You can get over to paperwishes.com. You can take advantage of the Money Saver on the right side of your screen, and you can get all of the directions and print them out if you want to do that. So thank you so much for letting us inspire your creative spirit here at paperwishes.com.